McDonald. Good morning, welcome back to my channel. My name is David and today we're gonna do a story time. That's right, story time. It's come to my attention after many years of wondering if there was something wrong with me and then realizing that there probably was something wrong with me. But also that people with anger issues is kind of a normal thing. So I guess, everybody gets angry, everybody gets mad, okay? So there's not like it's, like it's something out of the ordinary. It just depends on how you control it. So depending on how you control it, depending on how serious, if you need to go to anger management. So what I want to do is I want to express to you guys how I've controlled my anger issues. About 10 years ago, I was very angry. I was like 30 at the time, I think, or 32, something like that. Yeah, I was 32, yeah, mathematically speaking. So how I controlled my anger, I had a lot of issues, all right? And it's not like there was something wrong in my life. What happened was, I seemed so mad inside, I don't know for what reason. So at work, I also started like getting mad at people and walking around angry all the time, and I don't understand why. So, and then I started realizing that what it was something was driving me to feel this way. So because I was driven to feel this way, I had to stop and analyze what was driving me and why I was feeling the way I was all the time. So around me, and most of you know that I left my company that I was with for 14 years. It's been about 5 months now, I think. And I feel so good. Like I don't feel stressed, I don't feel angry, I don't worry at all anymore, So I left my company, but when I was there, I was always finding myself irritated with situations, things that I kept thinking, what's wrong with me? Is there something wrong with me? I didn't understand why everybody was getting promoted around me, why people were getting just moved up, and I was always left behind. So that kind of stuff was kind of fueling the whole situation for me inside. That's what I came up to. There was multiple people there that I was watching, like they started off, tiny, doing little jobs, and all of a sudden they get promoted to something and, bringing in a salary paycheck. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, how is that, that stuff would anger me, And then there was another gentleman that worked there. He was kind of like the plant supervisor, the plant manager or director or whatever you call it. He passed away, God rest his soul. He had his ways of doing things, so I always liked the guy. There was just something inside of me that I always liked about him. He was very nice with me. We've had issues in the past. When he passed away, I was devastated. I noticed he was beginning to respect me more as the last couple of years that he was there. It's just a shame that he died. But anyways, I started seeing him like treating certain people like gold, when he was there and he was alive. Like I used to see the way he would talk to certain people, how he promoted a few people around him. So what would happen was that just started making me feel angry because I was just getting mad all the time. So people were constantly like talking down to me. That shit just drives me off the walls, you know what I mean? Like that just made me crazy. They would talk down to me, they would like say things to me, and then I was like, I'm supposed to keep my mouth shut because you can't have the little dumbass. Like God forbid if the dumbass says something, it's like in school when the kids are picking on you, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden like you say something back and they're like,
they're like, oh, what do you mean, dumbass? What?
You know what I mean? It's like, dumbass can't say anything.
I'm the bully. I'm the only one that's supposed to have the last word.
So once you say something back to the bully, he gets pissed. He gets even more mad. You know what I mean? That's the same thing that was happening to me at my other workplace. There was multiple people just being corporate bullies. You know what I mean? Like literally just doing whatever they wanted, getting away with shit, doing stuff, people getting overtime and I wasn't getting overtime, people getting special treatments, people getting handed $100 bills and like I didn't see it, but literally in front of me. So like I would just it would take it inside, you know what I mean? I take it personal, and it's not like I should have, I really shouldn't have. But I kept finding myself arguing. Like I would just step up to people when they started talking down to me. There was a lot of that happening at the time. Well, there was a lot of that happening right to the end actually. But towards the end, it didn't bother me as much. So every time I used to get mad, I used to be consequences.
You goofed up,
you know
kid.
what I mean? So I used to feel like I was at a reset. Every time I had an issue, it would reset everything. You know, like now I'm back to square one. Now I have to start building myself up again, start bringing myself to the spotlight for the right reasons. What I used to do is I used to constantly be concerned and worried, you know, they're gonna let me go, I'm gonna get fired, you know, what am I gonna do now, you know, like that kind of stuff used to dwell on me. Then I used to go to sleep and think about it, and it's like, man, you know, if you didn't do this, if you reacted differently, you wouldn't even be worried about it. I started realizing that the best thing to do for me to stop worrying, because I think it was the worrying that was bothering me more and the consequences that was bothering me more than actually the fighting part, like the arguing, the yelling and swearing and throwing stuff. I mean, I was so angry because I kept seeing so much stuff around me, like people getting promoted. You know, I was there and I saw, like, I had 3 managers, you know what I mean? So like, and nobody ever moved me up. Those kinds of things used to like eat away at me. And like towards like the last like 3 years, I just kind of just stopped like caring, you know, like it took me about 3 years before I could control my anger. The last 3 years is when I really started, like, is when it clicked in me, like, wait a minute, how do I stop myself from being worried? How do I stop myself from yelling back and making things worse? Because it always makes things worse for me, always. For some reason, I'm always the one that's getting reprimanded. I'm always the one paying the price. Nobody else around me pays the price except for me. I kept telling myself, you know, like, what can you do to stop yourself from being so angry? And literally, all I had to do is just not care. I literally just had to stop caring about what was around me. That I had to start thinking to myself, all right, look, this isn't the only place in the world. Things like this are gonna happen. If I go to another job, I'm gonna see the same shit. There's gonna always be somebody there that gets away with everything. There's always gonna be somebody that's gonna be a bully. There's always gonna be somebody that's gonna get promoted over you. You know, it's one of those things that you can't control. You know what I mean? And that's what I pretty much have to tell myself. These are all things that are happening around me that I cannot control. What I can control is myself, my anger. I can control where my future leads me. That I can control, but I can't control what's happening around me with the other people. What I had to realize is I had to stop and think, put myself in a situation, what if this person, you know, because there's always those handful of people there. There's always the same people that would always trigger me all the time. They always knew everything. They were the smartest ones. They always had the answers. They were always right. It doesn't matter if they had to stick a lie into it, you know, and make themselves look good, or stick a lie in it to have the right answer, to have to finish the last word. It didn't matter, you know. I had to always put myself in the situation to think, how am I gonna do this when this person comes to me with this type of situation? It literally took a mental break on me for me to actually realize what was going on. And it was literally because these people are like literally corporate bullies, and that's what the problem was. Because they could get away with whatever they did, and they knew it, and that's why they did what they did, you know? If it was through manipulation, if it was through lying, if it was through telling a different story to somebody else that would believe them, you know, upper management, no matter where you go, is always going to have the upper hand over anything you say. So that's a given, you know. Friends, bosses' friends, bosses' family members, they're always going to have the upper hand no matter what happens. So that's one thing I had to understand. You know, you have family members starting there, getting promoted 6 months after. You know, these are all things that I had to see. And I'm over here busting my ass. There was even one time that I even had tickets to go with my wife to her country. She was going for 3 weeks, because back then they used to let everybody take 3 weeks. It's not like towards the end where it was just being discriminated. Basically, if you didn't speak English, you weren't allowed to take 3 weeks. You took 1 week or 2, and if you were lucky, you got 2 weeks. So if you were the boss's friend, you get 3, 4, 5 weeks if you wanted to. And then it got to the point that, like, specifically if you did not speak English, it was like, no, you get 1 week and that's it. If you got 2 weeks, they were gonna replace you by the time you got back. So that's how it was. But before, things were a little bit different, you know, a little more lenient, a little more understanding. There was less discrimination. So a lot of people got to do, you know, go out to their country for 3 weeks. I mean, I understand if you can be gone for 3 weeks, but if you're there every day and you have 3 weeks vacation and you take 3 weeks off in a row in 1 year, and you're always there and you never take your days off because you save them for specifically that reason, I understand people taking the 3 weeks, if you're spending $1,500 to go to your country, you might as well make it worth it, right? And of course, you know, these people bring $1,000, $2,000 with them so they can go over there and blow it. I understand that, okay? I don't like the fact that people used to take 3 weeks off or 2 weeks in a row, because it would impact a lot, you know what I mean? I agree with why they were doing it, but I also agree with if this person can do it, that person can do it, okay? If one person can take 3 weeks, everybody should be able to take 3 weeks. And those kinds of things, like when I was angry, that stuff wasn't going on. So it was very fair when it came to that. So it wasn't that kind of started happening after I started organizing my anger issues. What happened was I had plane tickets with my wife to go to her country with my daughter. My daughter was little. So what happened was we paid for the tickets. It was like a week before, and it was like all of a sudden work got crazy, okay? So my boss was like, oh, you know, like running around, you know, typical, you know, angry. You know, understandable, because I understood why he was upset. So because I was concerned about how I would look in the future so I could get promoted, I could not cancel my ticket. At the time it was like a $500 ticket. I could not cancel it. There was no refunds. I don't know, because I went with wherever my wife used to buy her tickets, so I don't know if that was a rule that place had. It's because of the pricing, I don't know, but there was no refunds. So basically I took the hit. I ate the $500. Nobody said, look, hey, you know, we appreciate what you did, you know, here's half the money, we appreciate it, or here's an extra week vacation or something, you know. This goes back like 7-8 years or something like that. So nobody actually came up to me and did that. So I did that because I said to myself, you know, by doing this sacrifice, they're gonna notice and they're gonna see that how dedicated I am to my job. And yeah, it was useless. Eventually, that didn't help me in the futures, basically. I didn't expect them to promote me for it, but it didn't help my case that I sacrificed my vacation. All the other people that were there at the time, they would have never done that. No, not at all. Nobody would have done that except for me. So my dumbass did it, took the hit, and it never paid off. The sad thing is, when I realized that I had to think about when people made comments to me, and when they started yelling, because everybody used to just yell at me, raise their voice to me like I was some stupid idiot, that was like I was an idiot. You know, I did everything I could. I did so much when I was there, but I was an idiot. I was never good enough for someone to treat with respect, you know what I mean? I realized that it is only workplace of the people that are there that are actually the ones driving my anger, because I'm watching people getting promoted, watching people getting special treatment. And for some reason, I'm always left tucked under the rug, but I was always there for it because it was convenient. So I started to think to myself, all right, if you don't want to worry so much about what's going to happen to you for like a month or two, the best thing to do to control your anger is just don't say nothing, and then you don't have to worry. You just keep your mouth shut. Because you know, as soon as you open your mouth, you're going to cause a problem. And that's exactly what always happens. Doing everything and getting no credit for it. Being paid shit and getting no credit for it. I get a tap in the back and I get a slice of pizza once in a while, and that's supposed to make me feel better. Even though the world doesn't run on pizza, unfortunately, and the world runs on money. And that's just the way it is. I wish it wasn't that way, but if the world ran on favors, it'd be different. To realize, you gotta just lay back, bro. These people are obviously angry about something in their lives that they're taking it on you because you're always the weak one. It's like going back to school all over again. By getting angry, sticking up for myself, okay? That's how I was seeing it, sticking up for myself. Making bad decisions by the way I react cost me a lot. It really cost me a lot. I felt that by reacting the way I did, it would make me depressed, it would make me sad, it would make me discouraged of myself, of who I am, and I didn't want to feel like that anymore. And I started realizing that it's the environment that I'm working in, and the people around me are the ones that were driving this evil, like, to go through me, you know, and that's what it was. When you can figure out what's making you so angry, and you realize the consequences aren't really worth stepping up, like, in trying to blur out whatever you feel is gonna make it right for you, you can deal with it. You don't need to go someplace to get anger management courses or go sit there and tell some stranger your business. But I wanted to express the fact that I wasn't always happy. I definitely wasn't as happy as I am more now since I left my last place, but I wasn't always like this, like just so laid back, you know. I realized a little too late in life, and I don't want people to find themselves angry and think they're alone, because I thought I was alone too. I thought nobody understands me, and they probably didn't, but I understood what it was, and I understood that those are things that I can't control, that I shouldn't be getting angry about. So I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Thank you again for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. I'm planning on doing some more story time of my life. Thank you again. I really appreciate everybody for subscribing. Please share my videos, and I'll see you guys next week on another one. Bye!
Say I changed it, I hope so. Still rock 2 chains on my neck though. Still sipping on drink, got me moving slow. Still going through my brain like a bullet hole. Like going through the pain I will never show. Still standing in the rain looking for a boat, looking for a